Daniel, you have the mic. Daniel, can you hear me? Your hands are up. You have the mic. Okay. Do we have any other question? Does any other person have any other question? You have the mic. Doing his answer. Okay, Jumoke Adeleke, you have the mic.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Good
So my
afternoon.
question, I joined in late, but I would like to ask, are we going to get a copy of the recorded version
Sure,
of
it's
this
recorded.
class? Like,
It's
is it
recorded.
going to be shared to almost everyone online here?
No, it's not going to be shared to almost everyone. It's going to be shared to everyone.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Yep. People, any question? Deborah Adeshina, you have the mic.
Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, please, I would like you to put us through how you were able to use filter, because I noticed you put filter from the date to the comment. I don't know, as in I don't get that part.
Okay, it's stable. It's not filter. Let me just, okay, I can quickly illustrate that. If I dump this here, so all of this, I'll highlight all of this. You can see how I highlighted it, and I press Ctrl T. It brings up this small box here, and I click on my table as headers, because this thing I've written on the top is the header. I want to create a table, and if I press OK, that's it. Deborah, I hope that answers your question. Let me take one more question. Okay, let's just use the remaining minutes before break to take questions. Deborah, if that answers your question, you can just send it to the chat box. Emmanuel Ayedun, you have the mic.
Okay, thank you for the lecture so far. My question is, what is the best practice for picking the date? For instance, when we wanted to post that invoice, we went to the invoice and it was 18th. What about for some organizations that wait till the end of the month before posting transactions as a result of the many other activities that goes on with the organization? So picking the invoice date, they just try to record all the transactions as at the end of the month. And the reason I'm asking is some of these transactions could involve foreign currencies, which eventually could give birth to revaluation. So my question is does it matter to choose the exact date on the invoice, or one can still go ahead to use the last date? The invoice date, does it really matter? Thank you.
So the date on which, now this invoice date, I just assume that it's the same date that the item was sold to the customer, and we invoice them immediately. Now, first, I don't think it's a good practice. I understand there's a lot of stress and but we still can't take it away from the fact that it's not a good practice to wait till the ending of months to post transactions. And if you wait till the end of the month to post transaction, you post them on the date that they actually took place, because your accounting records is an historical book. It should show the correct history of when and how things happened. So even if you are posting at the end of the month, let the date show the date on which those transactions or events happened. That's my own input to that. I hope that answers your question. Somebody here is named iPhone. Let me pick somebody. Please, if you are joining, state your name. Bisola, you have the mic.
Hi, good afternoon, sir.
Yep, good afternoon, ma'am.
I want to see what the VAT on invoice looks like. What we do at my own office, because I'm responsible for this particular aspect,
Okay.
is we just put it as VAT payable and we put it as minus. I'm not really sure that's the correct process, but I was more requesting that the screen be reduced a bit so that we'll see the end of the other columns, so at least the way you are entering it. I don't know if that's the way other people do it or it's just the
So I'm
wrong part of my.
confused. What do you mean by minus?
Okay, so for example, if it's for service, like maybe a customer rendered service to us, and we have to take withholding. I know you did VAT here now, and we have to
Mm,
take withholding of that service.
mm.
We just put like a withholding on the service charge. Now, if for example they bought maybe filter for us and installation of filter is now 50,000, we take 5% on that 50,000 and we just enter a line withholding on workmanship 5% and we put it
All
as
right.
minus 5.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, I want to illustrate what you are saying. You said workmanship, for
Yeah.
example, 150K. Okay, then the service charge is like how much?
Okay, so I'm saying maybe the item they bought, let's say filter 150.
Okay,
The installation now, which is not the workmanship, is 50K.
okay,
We do not take withholding on that 150. We take withholding on the workmanship.
sure, sure.
Yeah, so what we now do is the third line now that you are on now, we just put
Mm.
withholding on workmanship and put minus 5,000 on the
Oh,
50,000.
you understand what you are. So you are a payable person that process payment, Abby?
Yes.
Okay. So there is a difference between the point of invoice and the point of payment.
Okay.
One, there's also a difference between when you are dealing with a customer and when you are dealing with a vendor.
Okay.
Three, and there's a difference between VAT as a form of tax and WHT as a form of tax. Two different taxes.
Okay.
One, most of the things you have said, they are from the perspective of you trying to process the payment for a vendor. You want to pay a vendor that rendered service to the company.
Yes.
And from doing that, you have to withhold WHT.
Yes.
So that perspective you are taking it from is correct for a vendor.
Okay. So,
But
but this
what we
is
are
the same
dealing
way
with
we enter
here,
it into our ARP. Okay, sorry for speaking over you. Go on.
sure. So what we are doing here is we are dealing with a customer.
Okay.
So it is the customer at his own end when it's time for him to pay that he will deduct his WAT from his own end. That is his own business.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, I hope you get it now. So it looks like
Yes.
yeah, it's just mix up of customer and vendor. I hope it's clear now.
Okay. Yes, it is. It
But
is.
remember that last thing I said, there is a difference between VAT as a form of tax and WHT as a form of tax. Don't forget, very important. Don't always mix the
Please,
two.
can you expatiate on that? I'm a bit
So
confused.
on the face of the invoice, whoever issued that invoice is required to charge VAT except the item is VAT exempt.
Yes.
VAT is charged on the invoice. It is charged on the value of the goods.
Okay. Yes, that's correct.
WHT, on the other hand, is an advance payment of tax. It comes up at the point of paying an invoice. So when you want to pay an invoice, the law requires you to deduct WHT and pay the remaining amount to the vendor.
Yes. Yes.
So you can see that it's two different things. One is charged on the invoice and is shown
Yeah.
on the invoice. The other one arises when you are paying the vendor.
A vendor. Okay. Yeah, it makes
And,
sense.
and WHT is an advance payment of tax. It's not another form of tax.
Yes.
All right, no problem.
That makes sense. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yes, everyone, the recorded session will be shared. Let me look at questions from the chat box, then we'll go on break. I'm far behind. I don't know if it's network, but the screen is not matching what you are talking. I think it's network. I trust these people here. If it is a general thing, they would have scattered this chat box with comments. Techno. Who is Techno? Are we not supposed to charge WAT on the invoice? No. Remember, okay, maybe it's the person that just spoke. Remember, like what I said earlier, WAT comes up at the point of payment, paying a vendor. That's when WAT comes up. Kayode Akinola, well, anything recap, I may not be able to come back with anything recap because the recorded session will be shared. We are a little bit behind time. At what point can a client deduct WAT from an invoice as per this illustration? And when it's time for them to pay us, they will deduct the WAT at their own end. We'll treat that. Don't worry, we'll get there. If dealing with the vendor, you account for, we'll get to vendor. Don't worry. Is it possible to charge both WAT and VAT? No, it's not possible. WAT can be considered. I know some people that will say, because you want to charge me WAT, I will increase my price. That may be considered at the point of negotiation. But WAT is not charged as a tax. WAT is deducted at the point of payment. It is not another form of tax. Take note. You can gross up invoices to include WAT. You don't charge WAT on an invoice. You charge VAT in the invoice. Then when it's time to pay, you deduct WAT when paying. When we get to the settlements, we will touch on this. I hope time permits us. What of the situation of accruals when we have performed services and are waiting revenue? If it's accruals, instead of a trade receivable, would debit like an accrued income account, sort of. Some people have a problem with that name, but you accrue the income somewhere in your asset. At the end of the day, it's still going to hit your asset. All right, I'm not sure I can take all questions given the time. Please, any further questions can be, sent to, let me send my WhatsApp number. Here is my WhatsApp number. We'll only be able to take few questions so that we can meet up. So it's 12:30. Let's go on a 15-minute break and let's be back at 12:45, please. Thank you.